Hey, it's Leanne from Pure Country, and joining us today in Toronto, we have Tim and the Glory Boys, Tim, Colin, Brenton, and High Valley's Brad Rempel. Thank you so much for joining us today, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Now, the reason you're here right off the bat, we have to talk about it. You just opened for Nate Smith at the legendary Horseshoe. How was night number one? You're gearing up for night number two tonight.
Yeah, it was fantastic. The venue itself, being so iconic, was just a joy to play in. It's hectic. We just came off tour, and there was a lot of flights and early mornings, but we pulled it off, and then Nate was unbelievable.
So I know the cameras were rolling. Can you share any secrets about Nate Smith? Any stories already, or are you going to plead the fifth?
Yeah, I think I will plead the fifth. Boys, you have anything?
We actually got to take part in his pre-show huddle, Colin and I, because we met
that's right.
times
Left out.
venue right before he went on, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Special treat.
Yeah. And Brad, you're here today because you're going to be joining these guys on stage tonight to perform Take Me Back Road.
That was a secret.
I'm sorry.
Is this live?
Do you see the panic in my face right now?
This thing on.
Yeah. So I know you guys have been friends for a very long time, and you've been working together for a very long time. Tell me about this collaboration on this song. How did you decide this is the right time and this is the song to do it?
Wow, that's a loaded question. We became friends from me opening for Tim when Tim was won about 1,000 gospel music awards, and I was always just in the crowd wishing I could win one. And then we started talking about how he wanted to do country music, and that's kind of where this relationship started. Pitched them a ton of songs because I love writing, and Take Me Back Road was one of the ones that resonated. Either that or they just made me feel like it did, and that felt like the perfect one for us to do together.
And it looked like you guys had absolutely no fun making what I believe has been called the most Chilliwackian music video of all time.
Yeah, Chilliwackian.
Chilliwackian?
Yeah, it's a word. Chilliwackian.
It sounded like I'm sending you to the Chili's restaurant. I added a little extra emphasis on that
A
one.
really whack version. Yes, yeah, it showcased our back roads in a real way, and it was it was a privilege to have Brad out in our part of the world too. It's the first time he'd kind of been up to where Colin and I live, which is on the east side of the Fraser Valley in Agassiz and Chilliwack.
It looks absolutely beautiful.
My back roads, like if we had shot them where I'm from in Alberta, it would have just been like flat all the way through Saskatchewan and Manitoba, but instead we got mountains. And
Yeah, not the best action.
Much cooler, much cooler.
And then we ended it by standing on a pile of cow crap, so it was a fitting end, and also very Chilliwack.
Now, because you're talking about back roads, if I were to pop into each of your cars right now, what's the weirdest thing I would find in your cars? Over Christmas, I drove around with it. I had a 10-person tent in my trunk for about 4 months, so I just want to feel better. Help me feel better.
I love that. There's always some stuff for Goodwill
Okay.
that just stays in the car.
You mean to donate it, and it just stays there.
Never happens. Never comes up. I have a truck. I have a hillbilly truck. Where the rule of hillbilly trucks is you can't fix stuff when it breaks unless you absolutely have to. So I have a turn signal that's broken off because I was trying to stop it when it was backing up and I was trying to put the trailer on. The wipers no longer work. They did for a long time.
Okay. Does it not rain out there?
It rains all the time.
Okay.
I've perfected using it without the wipers.
Okay.
I think it makes me a better driver, and the hitch is just a wiring rat's nest. So this.
Do you guys have a "do not try this at home" disclaimer that can play?
I think we should have a contest who has the most hillbilly truck.
Honestly, as soon as you started talking about the turn signal not working, the rage.
Oh, it does. It works. It's just broke off, so I have to use my fingers and just really push it down.
Slightly, he has to stick a fork in there. It's a little electrical current.
It helps me sometimes.
When it jolts you, you know it's working. It's
Not kidding. This is all real. It's a dangerous truck, and I drive it around Chilliwack. So.
My truck isn't that cool, but it does have a lot of leftover breakfast in it because my son goes to school 40 minutes from my house, and I stay and write, and then after I'm done writing, I pick him up from school. And so he always finishes, he'll have like eggs and bacon and toast, and then my wife will prepare like these little bowls and separate stuff with cereal and yogurt, and then sets it in a nice place on the floor in the back. But sometimes I'm getting out my guitar and I accidentally knock out like half a waffle or just, stuff like that.
And you're on Music Row and this is happening. Has anybody ever actually caught it, witnessed the waffle go flying before?
I don't know that anybody has admitted that they have because it would make me a little embarrassed because I like to keep a really clean vehicle. other than molding pancakes and stuff.
Yeah, blame it on the kids. It's all pie. Now, I do have to give you guys a big congratulations. Your debut self-titled album is officially out now, and I saw the numbers that you shared on Instagram. In the first week, 15 million streams. 1 week. How did you guys, or when did you guys get that news? Where were you when you got that news, and how did you celebrate?
We were sitting on the bus somewhere on the road, and Brad texted us. He said, "Have you guys seen the numbers?" And obviously we've had these singles out for a while now, so there's time to kind of amass some of that. But seeing it all as a collection and everything totaled in this, number of 15 million, we were just blown away. Because sometimes on the road, we're in our own world. We're town to town. And we kind of feel a little detached from what's going on around us. But that was a bit of a jolt, like, holy cow, it's working, Felt good.
As a manager, a thing I kind of came up with was however many million streams they have is what we're going to charge per show from now on. So that was a cool bonus.
So all our money now goes to Brad. Yeah.
Well, Brad, you do have an interesting connection with this album. You're also featured or credited as a co-writer on a pretty solid chunk of these songs. From a songwriting point of view, is there a song on this album that speaks to you the most, or is most?
There's a song that I'm mad that High Valley didn't record called Me Without You. But I'm also very happy that these guys did. I think the most important thing to notice is that I wrote 80% of the album, and the number one biggest hit on the record, Tim wrote Without Me.
Yes, it's true. That's right, Brad.
It's on the
I want to
record.
lean into the mic for that one.
I didn't write it alone, though. It was with Alan Salmon and Rodney Clausen, who are big writers and have lots of hits.
But it has made pizza inflatables skyrocket. The sales of those things.
Yeah, they're sold out everywhere, all
You
over.
guys get a kickback fee from them?
We should have figured it out. I wish we had better management, to be honest with you.
That is true. I wish the same thing, but we're working on it.
Now, take me back a couple weeks ago, the Thursday night before you released the album, because, of course, you guys have been making music for years, but as Tim and the Glory Boys, this is your debut album. What is the night before album release day like? Are you nervous? Is it on your minds, or is it just another day?
Yeah, all of those things, but it's obviously it's weird to have sat on these songs for so long, so it just feels like the biggest relief of all time. Just like, oh my gosh, they're out there. People can hear them, people can listen to them, learn them, and we start to see them on the road singing along to songs that they shouldn't know, and then you're like, oh right, we released an album that these songs are now on. So yeah.
Performing on stage, you mentioned a bunch of them were already released before the album came out. There's new songs out there. What one of the new songs, Bloodlines, what's the most fun to perform of the new batch that were just released?
Oh, the new batch. Yeah, I like some of the ones that actually weren't singles, some of the ones that people haven't heard yet. There's a tune called Heavensville that I really enjoy playing. It's got a bunch of great bluegrass instruments in it, and we've been doing that one live for years, but now it's fun to play the crowds where people actually know the words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going through your Instagram, Heavensville, there's comments about it, left, right, and center.
Really?
All over the place.
It's good to know.
I did some research.
Thanks for the R&D.
Now,
We did go to Marcy Joe's, right? One of the first times. So there's a line, Marcy's Diner down on Main Best Pie, this side of the pearly gates. And I took him to the restaurant that line was written about. And they met the owner's daughter. It's pretty sweet.
It's very cool.
So they're big fans.
oh, that's incredible. I didn't realize that was actually real life. Yeah. Brad, speaking of self-titled albums, your album, High Valley, came out in 2010. September 14th, it will turn 13 years old. Wow. It'll be a teenager. Does it feel like it's been that long, or does it feel like it was yesterday?
Wow, now you're making me go back down memory lane. Our debut single off of that was a Stephen Lee Olsen song, and I can't even remember what it was. Stand By You. So yes, that feels like 100. It feels like a long, long, long time ago. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Now I feel like I need to dye my hair again. Freak out.
Well, because how old are your kids now?
My kids are 14 and 11. My son just willingly took a picture with a girl on purpose and wasn't embarrassed about it. So that is how old I am today.
Is that grade 8 graduation?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And my parents were there, and my mom was so excited to meet this girl that she was hanging around trying to shake her hand. It was amazing. Yeah.
Now, the deluxe version of High Valley's Way Back came out a couple weeks ago. You guys just released your album. We're out of the pandemic now. You're touring all over the place with all of this new music. I've heard of some artists printing out the lyrics and putting them on stage just in case, they forget mid-show. Do you guys have any on-stage secrets? Are you writing things on your hands to help you out while you're performing?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes on my hands, and I'm terrible at remembering lyrics, so it's a lot of writing them out frantically before, and second guessing whether I know it or not.
I mean, you didn't exactly help yourself with skate and float. I don't know how you'll keep those ones.
I screwed up almost every night. We save each other at different moments in the song with the lead. Yeah, it's I don't recommend it for anybody that's going to be playing both songs regularly, doing the same actual melodies. But yeah.
Brad, how about you? I know High Valley has a bunch of festivals this summer.
Yeah, I do forget lyrics. Sometimes pretty good at it, but we have so many parodies of our own songs that just on the bus we'll make fun of our own. Like grew up on that. We always say threw up on that. And it's pretty easy to list a bunch of things that you could potentially throw up on. So I got to be careful with that one. And then in County Line, there's a line that says, Fields got hay, hay's got barns. But we always say, hey, Scott Barnes, as if there's a guy named Scott Barnes. We're waving. We're like, hey, Scott Barnes. So I now sing it. If you really listen, I'm like, Fields got hay, hey, Scott Barnes. I sing it, and the crowd never knows that I'm doing that.
It's just for you. Sometimes
Now they do.
Sometimes it's just for
I'm
you.
not going to be able to hear the song the same way.
Scott Barnes, if you're out there, free tickets for life. Not to our show.
Find us, Scott Barnes.
Someone else's shows.
I did want to ask you guys about music and AI, because this is something we've been talking about a lot on the radio side. The other week, I'm sure you guys saw it, there was an AI-generated song. It sounded like Drake and The Weeknd. It went viral. It was everywhere. I wouldn't say it was great. It wasn't bad, though. Is this something that's on artists' minds when you're talking to other artists, when you're in Nashville, or is it a fad, a flash in the pan, something that'll be gone in a couple months?
Yeah, great question. I'm reminded of a clip of Katie Couric talking about the internet, the World Wide Web. What is it? After this break. And in like 92. I feel like we're there again with AI, and we've sort of used it. Like it's fun. It's more of like a fun sort of tool to find out what it can do, much like Internet Explorer was putting in the queries. But we've tried to incorporate it into the bus shenanigans as well. We have probably a few dozen AI inspired songs at this moment.
Okay.
We just make melodies for the lyrics that show up. It's a lot of fun.
How was you, Brad?
Really cool. The other day at baseball practice, my son's baseball practice, one of the dads went on this AI tangent and he typed in, write me a High Valley song in the words and stylings, I think, and thematic elements of High Valley. And it came out and it was very like family, faith, farming. It was very High Valley-ish. It wasn't great, but it was there. You could tell it just took every lyric I've ever wrote.
It wasn't great, so very High Valley.
Oh, snap. But then he took it to the next level, or I asked him to, and he said, because we were trying to see, like, is this better than just Wikipedia? So he's like, push the envelope of what High Valley would and wouldn't say thematically and write a song. And the next one came out, it's like, hey, girl, we're rebels without a cause. Let's burn down the town tonight. We don't need no laws. I was like, but they weren't making out in the back of a car and they weren't drunk. So I was like, yeah, that technically could be a High Valley song, but it was quite interesting. And I was kind of impressed, but you would have to take it and then.
Could we have that song? It sounds like a hit.
Yeah. We are rebels without a cause.
Only if there's baking out in the back seat.
Yeah, we have to include that for sure.
Well, thank you so much for stopping in today, guys. And before I let you go, I have to ask Tim, Brad, I know you both get a lot of love for your luscious locks of hair. I noticed. Oh, isn't that? Let it loose.
Oh, man. Okay, I'll do the same thing. Yeah, man.
They really moved, Brad.
They call me Lego Head.
Stop.
For real.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Undervalued.
Come on, Colin. Come on, Colin.
Hide now. Yeah, it's just,
Well, this leads me into my question. You guys have known each other for a very long time. Have you ever actually just seen Colin's face? We just there.
Without a hat?
Without any facial hair on whatsoever.
You guys ever seen that?
Oh,
Just in a picture.
yeah, I have, definitely. It was years ago.
Years ago?
Yeah. He was a teenager. Literally.
Because I was going through your Instagram and you shared a photo of an old driver's license and your beard. I mean, it was like a personality, but it needed its own driver's license. It was pretty big.
Yeah. That was a phase.
Yeah.
That was pretty big.
He was in Duck Dynasty before Tim and the Glory Boys.
It all makes sense now. I thought you looked familiar. Just kidding. Tim and the Glory Boys and High Values Brad Rempel, thank you so much for joining us today on Pure Country.
Thank you.
Thank you.